storyteller of the evening coming up. Flo is a bit of a surprise. He made it to our last event, which was our 1-year anniversary, held at the Hideout. And he came out to support his buddy, who was Kenny Abbott, who was one of our storytellers then. And I was able to wrangle him into saying yes for this event. He's known more for saying yes to tacos, but we're going to say yes to motorcycles tonight. If you would please welcome to the stage Flo from Flo's 2 a.m. Tacos. He's here telling stories about being part of the motorcycle community, one taco at a time. So please welcome Flo.
Let me open my laptop. You guys, first of all, I just want to thank you guys for having me here, because I think, still in season, that's a big mistake having me here. Because you got to wonder how are tacos and motorcycles connected. And I told my friend Kenny I was going to be name dropping him a lot tonight. If it wasn't for him, part of this probably wouldn't be happening. And some of the most amazing stories that I have about motorcycles are because of him and Angie. He's raising them too. They're pretty humble people. But I kind of want to go back and, like the speakers before me, you guys, I love the stories. I love this. 3 communities that I get to be a part of are the food community, right? The taco community. I'm friends with a bunch of taco vendors, food truck people, the hot rod community, which I'll fill you in a little bit about that. I don't want to talk too much about that. And the motorcycle community, which all of these are such majorly cool communities to be a part of because they're so inclusive. Because of the motorcycle community, I made a new friend last Friday, Oksana, who came here tonight to hang out with us because she's a huge motorcycle rider. So let me start with my story, see if I can keep myself together and not go off on a squirrel tail. So as a kid, I was pretty quiet. I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I was super introverted. And I remember the day I graduated. I walked out of we're walking out onto the football field to graduate, and I didn't have a lot of friends. I maybe had 1 or 2 friends in high school, and this one teacher stopped me, Miss Blum. She stopped me and she goes, Flo, or Florencia, that's my real name, Florencia. She goes, I see your name up on a door someday. You're gonna be doing some amazing things. And to be here tonight, I wanna say it's because I said yes to a lot of opportunities to be here. I get to be with you folks tonight, so a big thank you with that. So fast forward in a few years, 10 years later, maybe 15 years later, I meet Kenny and Angie Abbott. At the time I went to church with them. I know it sounds kind of lame, but whatever. So I meet Kenny and Angie. They're cool people. Kenny's like a pretty humble guy, doesn't talk much about what he does. And a friend of mine says, oh man, Kenny's into motorcycles. He works in the race industry. And I'm like, and I go, he's never told me about it. I've known this guy for maybe a couple months at this time, but fast forward, I've known Kenny for 23 years now. And at the time, again, he's just very humble about what he does. I say, hey Kenny, so how are you connected with motorcycles? He goes, well, I work for Michael Jordan, he's from Chicago, or he was. He ran Michael Jordan Racing. He worked for Suzuki. So, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, really? And so then he starts inviting us to races across the country. He invited me to the Daytona 200, if I can go in order. I've been to Laguna Seca because of him. I've been to Mid-Ohio, Road America, Indianapolis for the MotoGP multiple times whenever they were racing in Chicago. So to try to go back and forth. But one of my favorite races, one of my favorite yeses was when I went to Laguna Seca, and that was in 2005, I believe. And so we get to Laguna Seca. Kenny's all about, hey, Flo, you get to California and I will get you to the race. I will take care of everything. He took care of hotel, he took care of housing. I even got to go down Saturday morning when they were doing the time trials. I'm like carrying tires to pit row. He gives me, hey, Flo, here's some stuff to wear. He gave me some Jordans, Jordan shorts, Jordan shirt, sweatbands, hat, sunglasses. Man, I'm like, and at this time, I'm like 400 pounds. I used to be a lot heavier. But still, man, I'm like, fuck this shit, I'm going. So we get down to the track Saturday morning, and they're doing time trials. He's getting ready to go, and whatever he asked me to do, I said yes. So we get to the track, we get down there, and we get all set up. You guys, to be part of this, I work at a body shop. I don't do this for a living. And we get to the track and we're out there like, you guys, it's surreal. You know, he raced, he raced for AMA, but MotoGP was there that year. This was back in 2005 when MotoGP and AMA came together and they were at Laguna Seca. So we're hanging out, after this is all set up, they're doing time trials. Kenny walks us around because in the race industry, Kenny Abbott's a pretty fucking influential guy. So we're walking around and everybody's, hey Kenny, hey Kenny, hey Kenny. We walk by Nicky Hayden. He's like, hey Ken. I'm like, what the fuck? You know him? And I met Nicky Hayden. I met Valentino Rossi. I mean, in the heyday of these, and they're like, Valentino, hello Kenny, how are you doing? So pretty fucking amazing time. But we're walking around the track and he takes us up to the VIP area. And there's two sets of VIP area. There's the VIP area, which houses maybe 500 people. Then there's Ultra VIP. And Kenny says, you guys can hang out here today, but tomorrow, race day, you cannot hang out in Ultra VIP because that's where the big people go. Flo, you can't go there. And I'm like, I will not go there, Kenny. I'm a good listener. I understand the power of no. But in this whole time, Kenny's one of these guys that has always been super humble, like I've already said, but he's always one of these guys that says, hey, when he introduced me to, Michael Jordan, these are Charles Barkley, Noble. Remember that name. Noble's the kind of guy you want to know. He was one of Michael Jordan's best friends. He's the one who got Michael into road racing. And so Saturday, time trials, we're all hanging out there having cocktails, drinking for free, because that's how those people live. We experienced that and it was amazing. But the next day, which is the televised race, which is MotoGP, AMA. So Kenny's like, you can't go there because now all the big wigs are there. I'm like, okay, cool. But Angie says, well, I'm not going. And my other friend's like, I'm not going either. Why do I want to go there if I can hang out in the VIP area? And I'm like, fuck this shit. I want to see the race. I want to see Nicky Hayden race. And that was the year Nicky Hayden won the MotoGP. So I'm in just the normal VIP area. It's like 27 people deep. I can't get to the track to take a picture of him coming down holding the American flag. I don't know if you guys remember that. Ooh, I'm nervous. Cool. So, thank you. I know how you guys feel. I don't know how you guys feel about it. So I go to the ultra VIP entrance, and hold on, let me back up a little bit. Kenny gave me this lanyard to wear, right? I'm seeing people walk around the track with these big ass lanyards, and they're like walking around, they're like, look at me. Kenny gives me this tiny lanyard. It's the size of a credit card. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Nobody's gonna know who I am. Kenny's like, don't worry about it. So little did I know that he put a little sticker on there. He put a little Red Bull sticker on it. So I'm like, well, whatever. And my name was like Jim something, so Flo, Jim. It doesn't coordinate. But nobody said anything. So I'm walking around with my lanyard. Nicky Hayden's coming down the front straight. And I asked these guys, it's like security, state police. They're all kind of lined up here. And I'm like, hey guys, can I go down there and take a picture of Nicky coming down the front straight? And everybody's like, go ahead, sir, right that way. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like Moses, the water's So I'm just like, okay, thank you. I got a picture of Nicky Hayden coming down the front straight. It was insane. It was surreal. My brother's a huge Nicky Hayden fan. I'm a Nicky Hayden fan, more Valentino Rossi, but it was a cool time to be here. So I turn around to walk out because I'm a good listener. VIP's that way. I got my camera, and I pass her by. Noble says, hey motherfucker, where you been? I'm like, hey Noble, what's up? And so Noble, when Kenny introduced me to Noble, Kenny told Noble, hey, this is my boy Flo. And when you tell Noble this is your boy, Noble's like, this is my boy. And these are some of the most incredible, humble people all along the way that are just, when you're part of this community, guys, you're tight. And so I'm going to walk out. I've had a couple cocktails, so I feel pretty good, but I look like this fat rapper. Wait, there's part of that story going on. So I'm walking out, I got my Oakleys on, not at this point I got my hat on backwards, so I'm like, hey, I feel good. And Noble's like, motherfucker, where you been? I go, man, I just been over here chilling out, hanging out. He goes, come here, I want to introduce you to somebody. I'm like, ooh. So I go walking over there, and a friend there standing, Nikki, she's standing there, she's got the clipboard, she's got the microphone, And she's like, oh, Flo, whatever you need here, we'll take care of it. And I'm like, really? Whatever? She's like, yes. I go, my friend Angie and her friend, they forgot their lanyards at the hotel. Can you get them in here? She's like, oh my God, yes. What's their names? Angie, Abbott, meh. So they put the names down. And then my other two friends, which are Kenny's friends, Ron and Brooke, are there. And I call them up on my flip phone. I'm like, hey, motherfuckers, guess where I'm at? They're like, where you at? I go, I'm in the VIP. They're like, bullshit. I go, oh yeah, get over here. So they come up, and they're in the VIP area. I'm in the ultra VIP. So of course, like the typical Mexican, I take my lanyard off. I'm like, here, bro, come inside. They get in. I'm like, give me that motherfucker back. We get the other guy. So like, we're all in there now. This is the best part. But when Angie showed up, I call her. I say, when you guys get here, now I'm like 5 cocktails in, 3 cigars in. They get there, and I'm like, just follow my lead. Come to the VIP area and just trust me. And they're like, what the fuck? So I go walking out, make cocktail cigar, Moses, go out to the party, and I walk out. She's got her Jordan stuff on too. We're lucky at this point. I turn around, I put my elbows out like this, fat 400-pound guy, 2 blondes grab onto my arms, and like I go walking in. Everybody's like, motherfucker. So I go back in, and the lady's talking to me. She's like, don't I know you? And I'm like, no, you don't. I'm nobody. She's like, no, you're somebody. I'm like, no, man, I'm nobody. I'm telling you the truth. I was hanging out with, who was that one guy, Kenny? The drummer.
Oh,
Chris Hess from Hoobastank. I was hanging out with him, Mini-Me, hanging out with David Allen Greer, some of the coolest fucking people I've ever met. And I'm going up to the bar with David Allen Greer. He's like, let's go and get a drink. I'm like, okay, yes, I will go with you. And Matt LeBlanc was there, Jeremy McGrath was there. So Nicky Hayden at this point comes up, and he's won the championship. He's won the race. So he's up there. I was there. Champagne fell off me. I still have that shirt. Champagne fell off me. And Kenny got pissed at me later on. He called me. He's like, hey man, where you at? I go, I'm in the VIP area, Kenny. He goes, motherfucker, I told you not to go there. I said, Kenny, I didn't go based off your credentials. I went based off mine. Apparently Nicole from Red Bull thinks I'm a rapper. Because she's like, man, Noble's there. Who was like all these like cool people are here, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie, but people ask me questions. I'm like, yes, I'm with them, and that was one of the most incredible times. And there's so much more to that story that you guys probably wouldn't believe me, but I got an iPod somewhere with these pictures on there. We're smoking cigars. What that? iPod. I don't know. It's a thing from the '90s. So I still have that. And one of the coolest things was, I think at that point, I was like probably one of the only people of Latino descent there. So there's this Cuban guy rolling cigars, and he's just giving me cigars, and I'm like, man, is this how these people live? Like, shit, they don't pay for anything. He gives me, I smoked maybe 4 cigars that day, and at the very end, I'm like, hey, I go, listen, man, I'm not supposed to be here. In Spanish, I'm like, hey, man, nobody's supposed to be here. He goes, I give him $20. I go, this is all I have, man, but thank you so much for these cigars. He's like, he's got a fedora on like this. He's like, espérame un momento. So para ti, compadre. I'm like, mom. He gave me a stack of cigars. He says to me in Spanish or Cuban, he goes, nobody has ever given me a tip at these things. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. So I'm probably the only guy that's really, truly grateful to be here. And, it's because this guy said yes to me, I'm able to say yes back to him. Years later, I'm trying to start this business, and I've been cooking for decades. My real job is I've been in the collision industry for 32 years, so I paint cars, build hot rods for other people. I've never had the money to do it, so just do it for other people. And a couple of years ago, Kenny calls me up because this guy has always been so gracious with me. He asks me, hey Flo, I'm going to Road America. He's not in the industry any longer at this point, at least in that part of it. And he says, hey Flo, will you come and do tacos at Road America? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I will come. He goes, how much do I have to pay you to come and do this? And I'm like, Kenny, how much do I have to pay you to be there? And we got to serve food for 3 independent racers, right? And I took my son. I tried to get my son to come here tonight, but he says it's too late for him. But my son got to, he's riding bikes, he's hanging out with these racers. The experience was completely extraordinary. We ended up serving tacos for Factory Ducati, Yamaha, Honda. All these guys heard that we were serving tacos, and they're free. I'm like, I'm not charging anything. And then one time I did say no at this race was a couple people from Factory Ducati came up and said, hey, Flo, like, man, your food's incredible. Do you want to come work for us? I was like, fuck, no. I appreciate it, but I had a young son at the time and I didn't want to be away from him, and that was probably one of the hardest no's of my life, but it was a good no. And now I'm starting to develop my own business, and again, I'm building a vintage truck to pull my trailer, and also the community of the motorcycle community and the vintage hot rod community are wrapping their arms around me. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. This is my laptop. This is how I live my life. Scribble notes. I don't know how to run a business, but I know how to build a community. And it's an incredible time to be here. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Season, if it wasn't for Kenny, and for the likes of all you guys and my friends that are here. Hatsana, a new friend that I met, this week. Pretty amazing stuff. Yeah. Thank you. I'll wrap it up here. So I'll get off the stage now. But a couple things I want to say. The power of saying yes. When Season asked me to be here, I was like, these guys have great motorcycle stories. I love making tacos and stuff like that, but I figured getting connected with the community, the family that's here, it just builds. It's just a tidal wave of what you're doing, and I can't thank you enough for having me, guys. You guys have a great night. I think I should be done.
His taco place is Flo's 2 a.m. Tacos. Thank you so much for saying yes to Flo being up here on stage. You never know where a yes is going to take you, and it can take you to any racetrack around the world. So thank you to Flo for telling his yes story.